What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Club and Country. This is episode number 19, and we start today's episode off with confirmation of Loic Puyol's injury, which he got in the last game, and he's going to be out for 8 weeks, and also Vincent Perez is happy with some playtime here at Paris FC, and also going to the first game of today's episode here, and look at who we're facing. You would have seen by the title, it is the big one, the biggest game of the series so far. PSG versus Paris FC, our first ever meeting in the Paris derby between these two sides. We take on PSG away at the Parc des Princes. This is the game we've all been waiting for. As soon as the new season started, the first thing I did was go to the calendar to see when our first meeting would be. PSG away for our first ever meeting in the big Paris derby. So how are we doing the first meeting between the two sides? Well, we would have the first chance of the game in the 6th minute. Sissoko played a great ball over top towards Dembele. I took a shot on early here, but it was a simple save for Areola as he turned it behind for a corner. But good to get the first chance of the game here. But in the 14th minute, though, Paris Saint-Germain had their first chance of the game as Stambouli gets on the ball. He rolls it through towards Lucas Digne, who goes for goal, but Barmy, who's had a great start to the season, makes a really good save and gets it behind for a corner. So still PSG 0, Paris FC 0. But in the 20th minute, though, PSG would open the scoring through the Uruguayan Luis Suarez. The former Barcelona, Liverpool and Ajax man opens the scoring here and does put PSG in front. And this was really poor defending from me as well, because coming into the game, I knew we'd be pressured by Paris Saint-Germain. They were going to be the massive favourites despite us not losing a game so far this season. I had to be solid at the back, but I don't know what I was doing there with Sissoko and JJ. Really poor defending, and Suarez steals in and does open the scoring and break the deadlock in the first half. So PSG 1, Paris FC 0. And despite us having the first chance of the game, the first half was really dominated by PSG. They were playing far better. Good save by Barmy there to keep it at just 1-0. And even though we had more possession than PSG, we controlled the ball pretty well when it was at our feet. PSG were the ones that were getting the chances, and the same happened in the second half as well. They'd effectively pegged us back in our own half, trying to get the second goal of the game and make sure they would indeed get the 3 points. They had another great chance here through Matuidi, just past Yalmark, and again Barmy made a great save and turned it behind for a corner. And in the 81st minute, another good chance for PSG here, but once again it's our young goalkeeper Barmy making the save as Verratti plays the ball inside to the number 9 here. He goes for goal from range, but again, the young goalkeeper does turn it behind for a corner. But it was how the game would finish at the Parc des Princes. Final score, PSG 1, Paris FC 0. And unfortunately for us, in our first meeting between the two sides, we do lose. And it's also worth noting as well, that was our first ever league defeat, not just in the second tier of French football, but the top tier as well. So Suarez's goal in the first half does separate the two sides. They played far better than us in the second half and in the first half, really, in my opinion, despite us winning the possession battle in the first half. They had a great second half, probably should have scored more goals, really. If Barmy didn't play well, they would have done so, and they did win the game by a goal to nil. So, you know, I'm trying to stay calm, and I'm trying to stay sort of, optimistic, really, and saying, oh, well, we're taking on our rivals away from home, and they're the best side in France, and it was going to be difficult and stuff, but it's our first defeat in the league this series, and it's like the one team you wouldn't want to lose to when you're still undefeated in the league in, both seasons so far are your rivals, surely. That's the one team you don't want to lose to and have your first defeat to in the league, and it does happen against PSG. It was just typical, really, but I didn't play very well in that game. I think really it was just a case of knowing that they are the far better side, and it was sort of a mentality thing, really. Going to that game, I would have accepted a draw, and in most games with Paris FC, I want to be targeting the win because of the great starts of the season we've had, because of how dominant we were last season, even though we are playing in the top tier of French football now after getting promoted from last season, because of the start we've had to the season, 8 games in now, 5 wins, 2 draws on Saturday, that was our first defeat. I want to be targeting the wins in most of the games we play, so I went there thinking if we can get a draw and escape with a point, I'll take that, and I think that was probably my downfall, really. I went there, and you saw in the first half what my game plan was. It was to control the tempo and control the game, and pass the ball around, retain possession, and frustrate the home side. And that was just a really bad tactical move because obviously PSG were going to get chances regardless of whether we had the ball or not. So that was probably a big mistake by me there to try and play for possession and frustrate the home crowd. So I have to admit that was my fault, that one. We lost the game, but I'll blame myself for that. I did not get the tactics right. I did not get the game plan right. And it is our first defeat of the series. And I was really looking forward to it. Our first ever meeting between the two Paris sides. How would we do? But again, I think I got it really wrong in that that game, and sadly it is our first ever league defeat in either the second or top tier of French football. Still, we had to put that disappointing loss behind us and go into the second game of today's episode here, back in front of our home fans, taking on St Etienne, and we would take the lead in this game as well in the 28th minute. Moussa Dembele, who hasn't had the best of starts to his Paris FC career so far. We signed him in the summer, still yet to score a goal, but that is until now, because Thierry Ambrose robs his man down the left-hand side, swings it across to the centre, picks out his strike partner, and Dembele does open the scoring and make it Paris FC 1, St Etienne 0. So back at home for the first time since that loss against PSG. We want to show our home fans that yes, we were disappointed to lose for the first time in the league this season. And of course, after an undefeated season last year as well, we knew we wouldn't do it again, have another undefeated season, but to lose to PSG as the first game wasn't good to see. We wanted to respond in this game, and to take the lead through Dembele there was really good to see. Another assist for Ambrose as well, already proving that this season he's not just going to score the goals, but set them up too. But in the 67th minute here, he had a good chance to make it 2-0 and get his first goal of the game. It was a good save with the goalkeeper though, and cleared away by St Etienne. But in this game, St Etienne, like we did against PSG, were dominating the possession, but not really doing too much with the ball when going forward. And later on in the game, in the 90th minute here, they pushed loads of bodies forward as we played the ball through towards Bongongui off the bench. I gotta say, man, this guy's had an incredible start to the season, because in stoppage time, he's come off the bench for Dembele, who scored the first goal and grabbed our second goal to make it Paris FC 2, St Etienne 0, and secure the 3 points. So great through ball to Bongongui, runs through one-on-one, ball rolls around the goalkeeper and puts it into the open goal to seal the points and also get his 5th goal in Ligue 1 this season. I mean, this guy's just come out of nowhere. I know he scored a few goals last season, not too many, but still got a few, but this season his start has been extraordinary. I mean, Dembele, who scored the first goal, has only got his first goal of the season so far in this game, and Bongongui already has 5. It's crazy, but still, final score, Paris FC 2, St Etienne 0, and we do return to winning ways on the back of that loss against PSG. So the perfect way to respond that one. A really, really great win for us there, beating a good side like St Etienne. And after that, I thought, do you know what? Forget it. I know Bongongui's been put on the transfer list right now. You would have seen that a couple episodes ago as we didn't negotiate a new contract with him. But I thought, that's it, man. Bongongui deserves an extra grand a week, which is what he's asking for, because he's had a fantastic start to the season and he's just come out of nowhere. When you think about the 6 new players who got into the side this season for new signings, not to mention the fact we've also got Barmy, a youth team goalkeeper, playing minutes as well. Bongongui's been one of the most exciting players to start the season off. I mean, 5 goals already is absolutely extraordinary for a player who will probably get limited minutes this season due to the arrival of Dembele and also St Maximin, even though he is right now currently stuck out on the left wing. But either way, we do offer him a contract, and as you'll see, or might have just seen there, I think I might have gone by it a little bit quickly, but you'll see it anyway, he does accept his contract, and that is really good to see. Still following out some more player training. Also, our stocky centre-back has now been put on the transfer list. Unlike Bongongui though, he won't be given a new deal as he's in his 30s, and I want to try and shift him on. And also another international management offer there came from Finland, and of course we say no. Still waiting for that France job, but we'll have to wait and see whether we'll get it, not before long. Still, we take on Lille here for the 3rd and final game of today's episode here, away from home once again. So our last away game was of course that defeat to PSG. Wanted to make sure we wouldn't have back-to-back defeats on the road, taking on Lille. A very good side though, and the first chance would fall to the home team too, as Yassine Benzia goes for goal, but once again Barmy makes a great save and turns behind for a corner. So what a start to the season this guy's having, and it is still goalless. And in the 21st minute, another good chance for Lille here. Once again they go for goal, but again it is Barmy making a really good save. This 17-year-old who continues to grow with a player training feature is having a fantastic start to the season, and he does keep it goalless here. In the 33rd minute though, how about this? Moussa Dembele gets on the ball and looks as though he could take it around the last defender and go through one-on-one. He gets taken down by the defender, but the number 4 gets dismissed for a straight red card here. And I have to say, this guy is really, really unlucky, because this was an amazing last-ditch challenge on Dembele. At first I thought the referee called it right, so I wasn't surprised, but I looked at it on the replay. Look at this for a tackle. He wins the ball and then takes Dembele. That is a fantastic challenge, and Lille must be feeling very sorry for themselves at half-time, because that was a very, very wrong dismissal in my opinion. I thought that was a fantastic inch-perfect challenge, but the referee did give a free kick, and of course subsequently, because he was the last man, he saw it as a red card as well. So Lille down to 10 men in the first half here, as we go into the second half goalless. But either way, the first chance would fall to us in the second half here, rejuvenated by seeing Lille go down to 10 men. A couple of great saves by the goalkeeper kept it at 0-0 though, and it was still goalless. But in the 71st minute here, you could see on the radar what Lille's game plan was in the second half. Going down to 10 men, taking on one of the informed sides here, Paris FC. Their Their plan was simple in the second half: frustrate us, put as many men behind the ball as possible, contain us, don't allow us to break through and get chances on the board. And for the most part, they were doing quite well. We couldn't really do much with the ball other than pass it around and try and find some space to work our way inside to get more opportunities. So in the second half, for us, it all became about possession, keeping hold of that ball and trying to drag Lille out of position, trying to get some complacency sort of instilled into their veins here, try and force them out and get them a little bit frustrated by knowing that we are going to keep hold of the ball and try and just win the possession battle and make them want to come forward and tease them a little bit by playing backwards at some stages. And that's exactly what happened here 15 minutes before the end. We basically just passed the ball around. Eventually, Lille started dragging bodies forward, and after a really nice passing move here, we played the ball inside to guess who? Thierry Ambrose, who hadn't scored in the last couple of games, but does score here to surely win us all 3 points late on as he makes it Lille 0, Paris FC 1. So I was frustrated in this game because I just couldn't break down Lille, but then I thought, you know what, instead of just forcing the issue, launching balls forward, let's just try and drag them out of the position, let's try and drag them up the pitch, then work our way inside. That's exactly what we did there. A really nice passing goal, and Thierry Ambrose does make it Lille 0, Paris FC 1. So final score, 1-0 to Paris FC. We do get back-to-back wins on the back of that defeat to PSG. That is the right way to respond. 2 good wins, 2 clean sheets, 2 impressive performances from Barmy, and 3 goals scored in those 2 games. Really pleased with that, and a fantastic start to the season does continue, because even though we have been beaten for the first time this season and our first ever league defeat, we still had a fantastic start to the season, and you see it by the league table here. After 9 games, what a beginning to life in Ligue 1 for Paris FC, as we currently sit in second place on level points with Lyon, who are top of the table. But that does it in the episode though, guys, so thank you very much for watching the video. Really hope you have enjoyed it. If you enjoyed today's episode of Club and Country, then please do leave a like, and I'll see you for the next episode of Club and Country very soon.